it's Jillian, and if you hear some noise in the background, I do apologize. Today I'm knitting. I am bound and determined to get some crafting done. So here I am, making probably bad decisions, but I want to knit and make a video, so here I am. Anyway, I want to talk about kind of a random topic. I want to talk about friendship. Now, while I probably have 12 million stories about bad friends, toxic friends, and that sort of thing, I don't want to talk about that today. I want to talk about positive things. So these are positive stories about myself and my friends and the crazy shenanigans that we got into and or are getting into. Wahahaha! Let's start out with my longest term friendship. Claire is, I think, the name I've used before for her. Claire and I have been friends for 20 years. One more year and our friendship will be old enough to drink. I'm probably aging myself greatly with some of these stories. Okay, Claire and I met in middle school. She and I were in 7th grade. It was like a governmental type class, think U.S. history type thing. She was in a couple seats ahead of me. I came in, saw her drawing, and I was like, oh my god, is that a Sailor Moon? And she was like, yes. Now keep in mind these were two introverted, quiet children. But the moment I said Sailor Moon and started actually sounding like I knew what I was talking about Sailor Moon, a friendship was formed. A bond was made. And to this day, Sailor Moon is my ultimate favorite anime, not only because it is a good show and a good manga, but because I have so many fond memories of talking about it with Claire, watching it with Claire, drawing the characters with Claire. Yeah. Anyway, we started talking about anime, and at this point, at least where we lived and still live, manga at that time was super hard to find. And to a kid, $10 is kind of expensive for them. And they're still about that same price, so they were even more expensive then, in a way, because like inflation and whatever. I'm not gonna do the math for it. I guess I could. Hold on a moment. In 2001, which was the year she and I met, according to Google, $10 is equivalent to $14.71 today. So essentially those mangas were $15 a pop. And to a kid who doesn't have a lot of money, who doesn't have a job, who just does chores for a little cash or gets them for like gifts, $10 or $15 in today's money was huge. Like, you know, at one point I was comparing stuff that I would get in manga terms. Like, okay, I could get this $10 shirt, or I could get a manga, or I could buy a meal for $10, or I could get a manga. You know, this was my level of weeaboo-ness at this time, and I still somewhat think that way to a certain extent sometimes. But anyway, I digress. At this point, the bookstores didn't have a huge amount of selection. This one little bookstore that's now defunct called Walden Books They were associated with Borders, if anyone knows what that is. They were sister stores. Anyhow, Walden's had this one little bookshelf, and it was just an end cap. But even Borders, which was a larger store, think Barnes and Noble type deal, they only had one small bookshelf. Like it was a full bookshelf, but it was small, like probably I don't know. It's probably the size of a small magazine rack, to be honest. And more like an end cap, but it was kind of to itself. And that was all the manga there was. Like, literally this little small section. And typically they would have Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Tenchi Muyo, later on during this time period Inuyasha, but that wasn't until later. They had Card Captor at one point. Like, they would rotate them to a certain extent. Seems like they did Dragon Ball as well, but I can't remember honestly. And then the one that the creator of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball did before he did those two, can't remember the name of it. And then there was one other. Oh, Gundam. Usually some form of Gundam. At this point, Gundam Wing was like super big, and it was one of the ones that was there, and a few odd and end ones. At one point, Cowboy Bebop stuff had gotten in there, but again, that wasn't until like later, like towards the beginning of high school, so about 2 years into our friendship. And so we would share mangas, because again, they were kind of expensive. We would recommend stuff to each other. We still do this today, by the way. We would share videos, which at that time they were on VHS. I'm aging myself again. Anyway, we would tape different episodes of different things, share those back and forth, like come up with theories on what was gonna happen in the next episode of things. Like, we would stay up late to watch the anime hour on Adult Swim, or I think that's what they called it at that time. It was like after dark anime. It was only on Saturdays. It didn't do this for very long. It was like unedited type stuff, but it was still English dubbed. I think, I don't know, it was a fun time, and we both were creatives, so we would both come up with little stories, characters, bounce ideas off of each other. A couple years ago, we actually did together, to a certain extent, the Witchtober thing, which is like an alternative to Inktober. And we did a drawing party, which we did these all the time in high school with a couple of other girls that we were friends with. And I would love to do another one. Freaking yeah. Even if it was just me and Claire, that'd be okay. But we'd sit down with our supplies, with usually some kind of goal in mind. For example, in this example, the Pumpkin Witch. And we'd share each other's supplies, talk about whatever, watch some anime, eat some popcorn or chips or whatever. We come up with stories. Like, at this point, I had a character named Gemini or Jenai, and her character she called Claire after the Resident Evil Claire, and that's why I call her Claire. And we did this little comic together, which it was Jenai's and Claire's misadventures or whatever, and it was stupid and goofy, and we had like a fake radio show because I had like one of those tape recorder type things, and like stupid stuff, like we'd make words funny, like, okay, this cotton was funny to us for some reason. Like, I know it kind of is, there is a reason, like, at this point in our lives, which I think that it became funny in high school is when it became funny. The Fruit of the Loom type commercials were talking, cotton is the fabric of your lives. And it was, like, overly shot and stupid and goofy looking, and about this time they were adding cotton balls to like drugs and stuff to keep them fresh or to show freshness, or I don't know. And so we started making this association that cotton was drugs, and we were like the most straight-laced girls ever, so there was no way we were actually doing drugs and don't do drugs, kids. So that's why we thought it was funny. Again, we were stupid and kids. Okay. I think really that's like, we never did anything dangerous together, but we would come up with stupid ideas that we thought were funny. And that's just like one of the many examples. And I love hanging out with her. It's so much fun going to the mall and stuff in normal times. And I can't wait to be able to freaking do that again. And I think, okay, another great example of friendship or whatever with her. Okay. She didn't have a lot of money one year. My birthday was coming up. They had a bunch of other stuff happening around my birthday. My birthday's in May, by the way. And anyway, she told me, I invited her to my birthday, which is in late May. And she's like, Jillian, I don't have money to get you a gift. And I was like, that's not a problem. You grab your husband. I think he was a boyfriend at that time. They may have been married. But anyway, grab your person and bring yourself. Bring empty tummies, because I will feed you. And, we'll just have a good time. And so she did. She brought me a card. And she's like, are you sure I need to get you something? I was like, you can if you want to later when you can afford it. But all I want today is your presence and a hug. She gave me a good long hug. Probably the longest hug she's ever given me. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's fine. Eat food. There's food. I don't remember what I had that year, but it was probably stir fry or pizza or burgers, because that's usually what I request for my birthday. It might have been something weird, but that's, probably a safe bet of what we had. And have you some cake and watch some anime with me. And so we literally ate food, hung out. She, got to have some good food in her tummy. Not that she wasn't eating or anything, but I'm a good cook, and so was my mom, and it was just a good time. And I don't think she ever did get me like an actual for realsy physical gift that year. She might have. I honestly don't remember. What I remember is the good time we had and the hug. And kind of how upset she was that she didn't have a gift for the actual day. And to me, that didn't matter. It still doesn't matter. And I think that's something when you're looking for friendship and looking at a friendship, you need to enjoy the person's company and want to go see them. Like, in the before times, she and I would visit each other about once a month, sometimes more often, and I would love to get back to that. And we talk to each other pretty often over the phone, but it's not the same. And I really do miss that, like freaking heck. I want normalcy back. Anyway, another one of my friends, I think I called her Curly Q. She and I have been friends for almost 10 years now. Or a little over 10 years. Anyway, she and I met in college, and we met in this little... People called it the nerd room because like a lot of the nerds hung out there. And anyway, she and I started talking. Like, we weren't that close at first. We just sort of hung out of convenience. And then we started talking about Harry Potter and other movies. And we connected upon that and fantasy and stuff. And we loved hanging out too. And again, we like to just hang out and do nothing. Like, we have junk food days where we just eat nothing but junk food. And we're like 30, okay? We shouldn't just have days where we eat pretty much nothing but junk food. But it's for one day, for more or less one meal, and yeah, it's fine. We don't do that very often, like once every 6 months or so. And it'll be finger food. It'll be like cheese sticks or those little ravioli things with cheese in it. We'll usually have some kind of fruit and a vegetable, so it's not completely unhealthy. Thank you very much. And then we'll have some kind of chicken, like usually from Chick-fil-A. Hashtag not sponsored. And sometimes we'll have usually we'll have some kind of dessert. Like, I'm a huge chocolate lover. She's not that much of a chocolate lover. So we try to go for something like a happy compromise, which I think is something that's so important to friendship, is compromise. We'll get the Reese's peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough type stuff that you throw in the oven type of deal. I really, no offense to them, but they need to up it on the chocolate, just saying. But that's just me. I love chocolate, so what can I tell you? And sometimes I'll make something, and we'll have cooking parties together. In the before times, she would invite herself over to dinner if it sounded good, which is fine. I'll feed my friends. And I don't know. I miss hanging out with them, and I still talk to them over the phone, but it's not the same. I want to actually just chill out on their couches or have them chill out on mine, and watch some anime and eat some junk food, or in Curly Q's case, watch some Harry Potter or Ladybug, or which I'm trying to slowly convert her to the weeaboo state, but she likes Sailor Moon okay. But I haven't gotten her to convert to some of the other stuff. I'm working on it though. But anyway, like, we'll go to conventions and stuff together. And I miss that. And I don't know, it just seems like I miss thrifting with them and thrifting in general. I've started actually braving thrift stores, but I miss doing it with a person. Keep in mind, when I thrifted, and I still would do it if I felt safe, I would either thrift with my friends, who live fairly close to me, or I would thrift with my mom. And she passed away last January, and she really hadn't been able to really do it with me too good in the past couple, the last 6 or so months of her life. And I really miss doing it. And hopefully we'll get to be able to do it again soon. My aunt doesn't really care for it that much. Curly Q likes it okay, but it's not necessarily her jam. And Claire likes it okay, but it's kind of hard to find the right time to go. And we like doing other stuff too, so it's just figuring out when would be a good time to do it. Anyway, let me know down below some funny or cute stories about you and your friends. Let me know some stuff you miss doing with your friends. And I've got other stories, but those are some of the ones that were right now I'm missing hanging out with them that came to mind. I don't know. Just let me know some cute, funny stories. I hope y'all are doing well and keeping safe and all that other good jazz. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye!